Good evening. Let's not be anywhere but here. Not last week, not after the talk, not when the bills are finally paid. Here. Because right here is where it happens. Right here is where the chest tightens, the breath shortens, the stomach knots, and the mind races around an insistence that something must be managed now or else. You know that moment. You don't need me to describe it long. It comes like a weather front, and it announces itself with a pressure. Do something. Fix it. Think harder. You see. Now, I want us to hear this together. That very moment is not the time for a bigger mind to conquer a smaller mind. That very moment is the invitation to withdraw from the plane on which the storm is raging. If you try to win the fight there, you consent to its terms. You tighten where you are already tight. You plant your feet in sand and call it rock. And so it grows louder, because you are feeding it yourself. You know this, of course. You've tried the arguments, the self-talk, the wrestling. And the more you wrestle, the more it knows your name. You see. So we are not here tonight to sharpen the sword of worry, or to train the will to outshout a hurricane. We are here to remember a simpler motion, a holy motion, that does not suppress but transfers. There is an inner place, call it Christ within, Father within, the He that doeth the works, into which we withdraw, quietly, tenderly, until a release is felt. Not imagined, felt. And when that release comes, the government is no longer on your little shoulder. That is the promise. I am not giving it to you as theory. It must happen in you, or it will not be real to you. You see? Now the question before us is plain, and we must keep it plain. How do we move from fear to communion without first getting rid of the fear? Because if you wait to be unafraid before you turn, you will wait through many storms. So it is that we turn right in the midst, right while the mind is saying, now, now, now. We turn not to manage, but to yield. Not to command, but to consent to another within whose shoulder bears the government. And we begin here tonight, simply by acknowledging the common need. I cannot, of my own self, make this storm obey. I cannot. The Father within me doeth the works. He. You feel the relief already whispering at the edges when that pronoun shifts? Stay near it. We will not fight, we will withdraw. We will not perform, we will allow. And as we do, a release will come, and with it, a different center from which to live. You see? Now, what exactly are we calling anxiety? Let's be simple and honest. Anxiety is a claim on your attention. It is the mind forecasting outcomes, rehearsing speeches, tightening the timetable, organizing contingencies, and shouting one word: now. Do something now. Decide now. Fix it now. It is not evil. It is a habit of the human scene, a reflex of personal management. It comes with a voice that impersonates authority and borrows your name. You feel it in the body, you hear it in the thought, and if you believe its credentials, you hand it the keys. You see. There are, broadly, two responses. The first is resistance and analysis. You know this one. The mind turns on the mind and begins to argue with it. Why are you anxious? You shouldn't be anxious. Let's list reasons to be calm. Let's replay the past. Let's project a better future. And round it goes. Thoughts about thoughts. Feelings about feelings. Loops within loops. That is the mental plane. Practical language now. The mental plane is me trying to manage me with thoughts about thoughts. It is personal effort attempting to supervise personal effort, and it keeps the storm contract in force, because the storm wrote the contract. If you fight there, you stay there. The second response is recognition and withdrawal. By recognition, I mean you notice the claim without granting it authority. You say within yourself, I see you, noise. I hear the demand, but my help is not in this noise. And then you withdraw, not as denial, not as pretend calm, not as a performance, but as a turning, a contemplative turning. You do not pick up bigger arguments to crush smaller ones. You turn from the arena entirely and step into the inner place where another bears the government. Now, let us be very clear about what this work is not. It is not pushing feelings down and smiling over them. It is not painting panic with a coat of positive words. It is not grinding spiritual statements into the brain until the syllables numb the nerves. That is still the mental plane. That is still me managing me. And even if it quiets the surface for a moment, it does not transfer the burden. It leaves the government on your shoulder, and you feel it return, because the center never changed. So it is that if anxiety is a claim, our answer is not counterclaim. If anxiety says, now, we do not shout back, now. We step back and yield the seat of authority. We acknowledge, as an inner fact to be realized, not parroted, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. That acknowledgement is not yet the release. It is the door. We remain at that door, not thinking harder, but consenting deeper, until a release comes. And when that release comes, you will know why fighting made it louder, and why withdrawing brought relief. Because you left the plane of personal management and entered the governance of Christ within. Then action, if any is needed, will flow from that governance, not from the clamor. You see? Relax. Rest. Let go. The shift begins exactly there. Now we come to the word that opens the door, and I want you to hear it as if for the first time. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. That is not a slogan. That is a living key. Who is this I that can do nothing? It is the anxious manager, the personal mind, the one that tries to gather the winds in its hands and keep the sea from moving. It is the me that signs its name to every burden and then wonders why the back aches. That I can do nothing. You see. Then who is this he? Who is the Father? Where is he? What is he? Not up there, not out there, not waiting to be persuaded by louder prayers. He within me. He is the life of me, the very presence at the center that is not born and does not die, that neither worries nor hurries. The doer is not the personal thinker. The doer is the indwelling Christ, the Father within. The Father. The Father. The Father. Say it not to hypnotize the brain, but to bring the question to its resting place. Who carries the government? Not I. The government is not on my shoulder. The government is on his shoulder, and that he is within. This is the pivot. Anxiety is a false government setting itself on the personal self, issuing decrees, now, 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 solve, defend, perform. And the personal self, feeling small and responsible, consents to be the throne. That is why it tightens. That is why it burns. But the moment, the very moment you inquire within, Who is I here? Who is he here? And you acknowledge the order as it is, a loosening begins. You may not yet call it peace, but you can feel the burden changing hands. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. There, there, there. You sense the strain slip from the personal will and slide to the inner shoulder that was fashioned for it. Now, this is not a trick of language. This is pronoun work that transfers agency. I, the managing mind, resigns. He, the living presence, assumes. I am not abandoned. I am relieved. I am not inactive. I am governed. Then decisions, actions, words, if any are to be given, move under another's impulse. The Father doeth the works. The Father doeth the works. And you will notice, all by itself, the breath deepens and the jaw unhooks. Not because you breathed on purpose, but because the government is not on your shoulder. So it is that every time the claim of anxiety climbs back onto the throne, we return to the pronouns. Who am I here? I can of my own self do nothing. Who is he here? He within me, greater than he that is in the world, doeth this work. We are not piling up words. We are uncovering the doer. And as the doer is realized, not thought about, the knot unties. The contract with the storm is canceled, and the quiet certainty rises. It is handled. Not by me, by him. Then let us rest in that order. The Father, the Father, the Father. And let the burden be where it belongs. Now here is the practice in the very hit of it, when the wave is already over the bow. First, stop. Just stop. If you can sit, sit. If you cannot, let your feet be still where you are. Soften the eyes. Don't bore holes through the problem. Let the gaze unhook from the outer scene. Hands loosening, jaw unhooking, as much as it will without force. And now, turn. That is the motion. Withdraw attention from the picture in front of you and let it fall inward, like a leaf settling onto quiet water. You are not going out to fix. You are going in to yield. You see. Take a single line, not many, just one, and let it be your door. I'll give you one now, and we will stay with it. He that is within me is greater than he that is in the world. Not as a chant, not to beat the mind into silence, but as a key you insert and turn slowly. He that is within me is greater. Who is this he? Where is he? Within me. Not I outmanaging the storm. He within me, greater than every claim shouting from the world picture. Ponder it. Read it inwardly, one word at a time, letting it open. He that is within me is greater than he that is in the world. The Father, the Father, the Father. Now, stay with it, but listen. Stay with it as pondering, not as grinding. You are not trying to make something happen. You are consenting to what is. Let the line question you as much as you question it. If your mind tries to grab the steering wheel, bring it back gently. Within me, greater. Not out there, not later, not after I solve it. Within me, now. And continue this inner turning until something begins to move without your pushing. You will feel it. All of a sudden, a release comes within, perhaps a little exhale that you did not order, a softening across the belly, a widening behind the eyes, a small quiet that was not manufactured. The government is changing shoulders. You can feel it. When the release comes, stop working. Do not keep digging after the root has been loosened. Close the book of words. Rest a moment in the hush. No phrases now. Just the awareness that the presence has taken the government. Then get up and go about your business from the shift, not to test it, not to prove anything, but to live as one who is now carried. Decisions, if they are to be made, will rise of themselves under this government. You do not force them. If the mind returns with its parade, and it will sometimes, you know that, do not argue. Return, the same way. 2 times, 3 times in an hour if needed. Each time, stop, soften, turn inward, and let the same line open you again. He that is within me is greater than he that is in the world. No struggle, no shame, no scolding yourself. Just the rhythm of yielding until the release comes again. This is contemplative work, not repetition. It is the inward turning that continues until the felt release announces, "The Father within is now doing the works." Then rest. Then live. Now I must draw a clean line here, and I want you to hear it kindly but plainly. There are methods that quiet the body. There are methods that steady the pulse and lengthen the breath. If you count the breath will answer. If you hold the muscles and release them, the muscles will soften. If you picture a calm lake, the nervous system often imitates the picture. That is real at its level. But listen, if, after the breath has slowed, you still feel that you are the one keeping the calm, if you are the one riding the reins, then the government is still on your shoulder. You have not yet left the mental plane. You have installed a better manager, but you are still the manager. You see. Now what do I mean when I say mental tricks? I do not mean wickedness. I mean suggestion. I mean self-hypnosis. I mean affirmations used as force, statements hammered into the mind to overpower another set of statements. I am calm, repeated like a drumbeat to drown out, I am afraid. This can work, let us be honest. The mind can dominate the mind. One thought can master another. There are schools of such control. Some call it science of mind. Some call it yoga of the will. They can produce effects. Numb a pain, stop a craving, walk through a hatpin act. You know these stories. But hear me. Even when they work, they have not yet revealed identity. They have not yet transferred the burden. Hypnotism is not going to carry you out of the mental plane because it lives there. It governs from there. And when the conditions shift, its empire shakes, and the old fear finds its door again. So it is that I must warn you about formulas. Reliance on metaphysical truths as statements, apart from realization, can be fatal. To walk into a storm repeating, "God is love, God is love," without the inward awareness of love present as you, can be like wearing a painted life preserver into deep water. You will believe you are safe because of words, and then resent God when the words fail to hold. Words are not the presence. Statements are not the Christ. Truth has to be realized, felt, before it operates. I do not say this to frighten you. I say it to save you needless suffering and disappointment with slogans. What then are we doing? We are not controlling the mind. We are consenting to the indwelling Christ. We are not arranging the breath. We are yielding to the life that breathes us. We are not stacking affirmations to build a tower to heaven. We are turning until heaven declares itself within. The Father within me doeth the works. The Father, the Father. The proof is simple and always available. If you feel tight, pressured, and responsible, if you can feel the reins in your hands, you are still trying to be the government. If, without your forcing, a release comes, an unbidden exhale, a soft falling inward, a quiet that is not manufactured, then the government has shifted. You can feel it. And then the aim is not a calmer mind by control, but a new center by realization. Christ within, bearing the government. So the next time you reach for a trick, pause, turn. I can of mine own self do nothing. Wait at that door until he answers from within. When the release comes, stop working, rest, and then move, if you must move, from that new center. Do not prove it, live it. The Father within will do the works. Now, how do we know when we have left argument and entered communion? What is the proof? Not in theory, but in the body, in the room of you. It is this simple thing I have been pointing to. A release. Not fireworks, not visions on command, not an ecstatic trance. Often, it is so quiet you could miss it if you are hunting drama. A soft loosening in the chest, as if a small hand opened a latch from the inside. A widening of space behind the eyes. An unbidden exhale. And with it, the faint but steady sense, it is handled. Not, I have handled it. No, it is handled. You see. Before the release, the inner talk says, what if, and hammers the calendar. Before the release, there is compulsion. Check again, decide now, make a move, any move. After the release, the sentence changes of itself. Even if he is here. Even if this picture remains for a while, the Father within me doeth the works. The pressure to meddle relaxes. Permission to rest appears without your approving it. You did not grant it. It was granted. Before, your muscles gripped the reins. After, your hands are open in your lap, and time is no longer a tyrant, but a servant. You can wait 5 minutes, 5 hours, as you are guided, and there is no inner scolding. The government has moved. The government is not on my shoulder. The government is on his shoulder. The Father, the Father, the Father. Now someone will say, but nothing out there has changed. And I answer, of course, the picture may not have received the memo yet. But the operator has changed. The seat of government has changed. The I that can of its own self do nothing has resigned, and the he within has taken the wheel. Action that flows now is not driven by dread. It arises as a simple next. Email sent without tremor. Phone call made without rehearsal. Or just as often, holy inaction. A wise waiting. A no that costs you nothing. The situation may unfold in hours or in months, but from the moment of release, you are not the anxious author trying to write the script. You are the branch consenting to the vine. And fruit grows of that union without strain. That is different. You know it by the absence of push. Here is another sign. The need to keep arguing with the problem drops. When the release comes, stop working. Do not go back and add one more statement to make sure. Do not test it by peeking at the storm to see if it obeyed. Rest. Sit a minute in the hush that has announced his activity. Let the silence complete what your words could not. Then get up and live, unhurried, from that center. If a thought tries to recruit you back into management, you will feel the difference at once. Management tastes like grit. Abiding tastes like ease. And this is what I mean by abiding. Not a 20-minute peak to be remembered fondly, but a returning, again and again, to the inner seat until it is your natural address. At first you will visit, then you will dwell. The rhythm is simple. Turn, release, rest, live, and repeat without shame whenever you notice you've left. Over time, the release comes sooner, stays longer, and spreads wider, until even in action there is a low, quiet yes underneath everything. He within me is greater than he that is in the world. That is the proof, not as words, but as a felt center that steadies the heart and governs the day. Relax, rest, let go. The Father within is active. Now someone will say, but the mind came back with a fresh list. A new fear put on an old coat and knocked again. Of course it did. Anxiety is a quick study. It will rebrand. Money wears a health mask. Health puts on a relationship voice. The headlines recruit your private dread and call it responsible citizenship. You see. This is not failure. This is weather. Do not write a sad biography because a cloud returned. The practice is not one victory and a parade. The practice is a rhythm, returning without shame until the inner government becomes your normal life. So when it comes back, what do? Not scold, not argue, not measure our progress by the persistence of noise. We return, simply, kindly. Now, again, Father within. That is the motion. No drama, no force. Just the same door we used 5 minutes ago or 5 hours ago. And if it helps, let a small return phrase be your key. I will give you 2 doors. Thy grace is sufficient. Or, underneath are the everlasting arms. Take either, not as a chant to drown the mind, but as a contemplative turning. Work with it this way, slowly. Thy grace is sufficient. Whose grace? Not mine. Thy grace. Not my management, not my will. Grace, gift, activity of the Father. Is present, not later. Sufficient, enough for this very thing. Let it open you. Or take the other. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Underneath, below my effort, beneath all this strain, the floor of being. Are, not will be, are. Everlasting, not wearing out today. Arms, support, government, the He that doeth the works. Ponder it gently until that same unbidden softening appears. The little yes, the loosening, the unforced exhale. There it is. The government shifts again. Then stop. When the release comes, close the book of words and rest a minute in the hush that has announced his activity. Then live from it. Send the email if it rises from that ease. Wait if waiting is what comes. And when, as sometimes happens, the mind returns with a new draft of worries in 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, return without shame. The number of returns is not a report card. It is the rhythm of abiding. If necessary, take the phrase again at noon, at 3, at dusk. Each time, not grinding, not hurrying, just consenting. Remember this. Anxiety feeds on urgency. It sells you on hurry and bullies you into quick conclusions. Abiding is unhurried. The unhurried quality itself is evidence of a higher government. Where the king is seated, there is time enough. You feel it. The breath is not arranged, it is allowed. The shoulders do not square to fight, they fall to rest. The Father, the Father, the Father. And we come back to him as many times as it takes, 70 times 7 if need be, without a scrap of self-accusation. Shame is just another costume of the mental plane. Drop it at the door. In this way, by many small yieldings, the inner government takes its rightful seat. You notice that the visits last longer, the returns are simpler, the silence is nearer. Decisions rise from the quiet center. Refusals cost you nothing. Yes and no are clean. And when the mind parades again, you know the way. Now, again, Father within, thy grace is sufficient. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Turn, release, rest, live, and return as needed. This is abiding becoming life. Relax, rest, let go. He within me is greater than he that is in the world. Now, let us be very simple about where we begin, because I do not want you to miss the first rung by reaching for the roof. Anxiety shows up in the body, tight across the chest, a small clamp on the stomach, breath shallow, as if it is knocking but not fully entering, fatigue like wet cloth over the shoulders, hands that want to do something, anything. You know this, you feel it. We do not dramatize it. We acknowledge it. This is the lowest rung, body fear speaking in pressure and pace. You see. Now, up one rung, not by force, by noticing. Without denying any sensation, lift your attention a little. Let the gaze unhook from the symptom and take in the room, the simple fact of being here. Walls, a chair, the hum of ordinary life. And then, this is very important, notice the eyes. If there is another in the room, you do not quickly note their body. You find yourself aware of the eyes, the window, the shining out. If you are alone, sense as if your own seeing were two lamps quietly lit behind the brow. Already, do you feel it? A small separation from the pinch. There is awareness of the sensation. There is a you that is noticing, and the noticing is not itself tight. The witness is undisturbed. That is not psychology. That is the first taste of government shifting. The Father within is near. Next rung. From symptoms to atmosphere. I use that word instead of aura because it is plainer and truer to our sense. As you abide for a few breaths, not arranged breaths, allowed breaths, the focus moves from my chest is tight to the room, the inner space, has a weather. It might have been stormy 5 minutes ago. Now, as the release begins, the weather changes. A stillness enters like a front moving in. The edges of things soften. The insistence of the clock loses its teeth. And you realize the anxiety was a local squall. The atmosphere, as presence is realized, is calm. You are not creating calm, you are consenting to it. You can feel the governance in it. The government is not on my shoulder, the government is on his shoulder. The Father, the Father, the Father. Now and then, and I want to speak of this without spectacle, The atmosphere clarifies so much that a light is known. Not a circus light, a quiet light. Sometimes it is as if the space behind the eyes gently brightens. Sometimes the whole body is less a weight and more a transparency. There can be a moment where the body seems to step into the background and a soft radiance stands where you are. Transfiguration is not an exhibit. It is an elevation of consciousness. A flash, everything's all right. And then ordinary sight returns, but not the old strain. The light does not perform. It reassures. It says, without words, I am here. He within me is greater than he that is in the world. All of this is developmental and near, step by step. Do not reach for light. Abide until release, and the ladder carries you. From body fear to awareness noticing, from noticing to atmosphere, from atmosphere to a quiet light. Each rung is attainable because none of them are your achievement. They are signs of yielded government. And the fruit is not stories to tell at supper. The fruit is peace and right action. Emails sent without tremor. Waits endured without scolding. A no given without guilt. A yes given without compulsion. So we practice not for entertainment, but for life. Turn, release, rest, live. And as you live, you will find the atmosphere of your days clearing, and in that clarity, a steadying light by which to walk. Relax. Rest. Let go. The Father within doeth the works. Now let us speak of life, of bills and phone calls and meetings at 9 o'clock. Because someone is always tempted to hear withdraw as an excuse to retreat from responsibility. No. Hear me kindly and plainly. We do not withdraw from responsibility. We withdraw from false responsibility. We step out of the panic job we gave ourselves, chief controller of outcomes, and step into the office assigned from eternity. Branch of the vine. You see. The work remains, but the worker changes. The task stands, but the government is different. The Father. The Father. The Father. What changes? Not that you stop making calls or paying bills or having hard conversations. You still speak to the one you need to speak to. You still open the ledger. You still go to the doctor. But you do not go by lash. You go by ease. The inner whip is gone. The calendar stops shouting. An action appears as a simple next, not as a rescue mission. Why? Because the I that can of its own self do nothing has resigned, and the He within is doing the works. Guidance rises, not as a speech in your ear, but as a rightness in your chest, a clarity without clang, a timing that does not bruise you or your brother. He within me is greater than he that is in the world, greater than deadlines, greater than dread. Take a simple arc you know too well. The anxious mind says, fix it tonight, send the email now. If you wait, disaster. And you can feel the grip. Pressure, hurry, many words. If you act there, the tone will be sharp, the sentence is long with justification, and you will hit send to relieve a feeling, not to serve wisdom. So you stop, you turn. You take your door. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. You wait. 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 10, until the release comes. When it comes, you close the book of words and move from the hush. And what comes? Often it is this. Not tonight, in the morning. And in the morning, same facts, different government, You write 3 clean lines with no defense, only truth and kindness, and you send it without tremor. The fruit tells you the root. Peace in you, peace in the outcome. Or the bill on the table. The mental plane barks, all or nothing, now or never. The Father within may move you to pay what is cleanly possible today and call the lender in calm to arrange the rest. Same problem, different shoulder. The government is not on my shoulder. The government is on His shoulder. The Father, the Father, the Father. So here is discernment. If action is pressured, theatrical, rehearsed in your head 4 times before you move, if it must prove itself or win, it is likely mental. If action is calm, simple, timely, if it does not bruise your breath to take it, it is likely rising from within. The calm act may be a bold no or a quiet yes. It may be to speak or to wait an hour, or to ask one honest question and listen. It never needs a drumbeat. It arrives with enough light for one step. And let this be our rule of life. Do not move to escape a feeling. Move when the release has come. Turn first, then act. In this way, abiding does not stop action. It purifies action. Decisions are made under a different government, and therefore they bless. Because I am not a separate self managing a separate world, I am the life of Christ expressing where I am. Then let your day be handled under His government. Emails, errands, appointments, each a small consent to the indwelling doer. Relax, rest, let go. The Father within doeth the works. Now let us look at the root beneath the roots, because if we do not name it, it keeps hiring us in secret. Anxiety, again and again, is the strain of separation. It is the mantra, whispered and then shouted, I, alone, must secure my future, my image, my safety. I must carry me. That is the backbreaking creed. That is the false government climbing on your shoulder with its briefcase of plans and its clock and its mirrors. You see? And when you believe that creed, even your prayers are private negotiations with an outside God to come over and help your separate self win. That is why it tightens. Now I want to place before you a simpler fact, not as argument, but as a pointer for your own realization. There is one life. The presence you touch and release is not a little household spirit assigned only to you. It is the universal Christ revealing Himself where you are. He within me is the same He that breathes your brother, your sister, your so-called competitor, your enemy. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth in me. Not bravado, not a slogan, a quiet knowing that arrives with the release. I am not a separate creature trying to manage a separate world. I am the life of God expressing itself here. The Father, the Father, the Father. Who then is this I that lived as anxiety? It was the image bearer, the account keeper, the one who feared subtraction because it believed life was a sum of personal possessions, my health, my money, my reputation. But as oneness dawns, subtraction loses its fangs. There is only one self, or one I. He within me is the I within you. If I wrong you, whom am I wronging? Myself. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these, ye have done it unto me. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. He was not giving advice. He was stating a law of a single life. You see. What happens to anxiety when you begin to rest there? Competition relaxes. Grasping softens. You do not need to win at my expense because there is no my and your life to balance on a scale. There is life distributing itself under one government. You can pick up the phone and bless the one who seemed to threaten your work, and some of you have done this and found it so. The more you bless, the cleaner your own way opens. Or in a meeting, while the old self would have hurried to speak first and loudest to secure its image, the realized self listens, speaks simply, and finds that authority is not volume, it is presence. The government is not on my shoulder. The government is on his shoulder. And this is very practical. When fear tries to recruit you, you are alone here, you must hold the wall. You turn not only for release, but for identity. Father within, I live, yet not I. Let that sentence ripen until a warmth rises toward the faces in your world. Not sentiment, oneness. The room becomes your own atmosphere. The stranger is your own self in a different coat. The cashier is yourself. The patient, the judge, the child, the critic, yourself. And the heart steadies because there is no private life to defend, no private future to secure. There is life being itself, and you are its transparency. He within me is greater than he that is in the world. So it is. Now let us close where we began, right here, in this room where the heart has learned to soften. Be very simple with me. Close the outer argument and turn within. Slowly, gently, let the phrase open the door. The Father within me doeth the works, not I. The Father, the Father, the Father. Another. The government is on his shoulder, not my shoulder, his. And now the simplest word. I rest. Pause there. Not as a trick, not as a chant, as consent. Let the body follow the yielding. If the shoulders wish to fall, let them. If an unforced breath rises and leaves, let it. If the eyes wish to soften, let them. Wait a moment longer than is comfortable for the anxious habit, and feel for the small inner yes, the loosening, the widening, the sense, it is handled. You see. When that comes, do nothing more. Sit 1 minute in the hush that announces his activity. Rest. Relax. Let go. If later tonight the mind parades again, and it may, do not argue. Do not measure yourself by the persistence of weather. Return. The same door is always open. Now, again. Father within. If a phrase helps, take it as a key, not a hammer. Thy grace is sufficient. Or, underneath are the everlasting arms. Ponder it just enough to tilt inward, then wait until the release comes. When it comes, stop working. Rest a moment and go on with your evening from that center. If you must return 2, 3, 4, 5 times, return without shame. That is abiding, learning to be your address. And then live the law that oneness requires. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these, ye have done it unto me. This is not advice, this is a description of a single life. So live gently, speak gently, act from oneness. In traffic, yield a space and bless the one who takes it. There is no other there. In the email, remove the defense and keep the truth. In the store, meet the cashier with your own eyes and let gratitude do the talking. In your house, let the quiet center make your no clean and your yes kind. If I wrong you, I wrong myself. If I bless you, I bless my own life. He within me is the I within you. The Father, the Father, the Father. Go with this assurance. You are not trying to become upheld. You are consenting to be upheld by what has always been within. The vine has never released the branch. The branch has merely forgotten the sap. So remember and rest. When anxiety knocks, do not fight on its floor. Withdraw, acknowledge, wait for the release, and then live from that peace in love toward all. Relax. Rest. Let go. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. And under his government you are kept. And then live the law that oneness requires. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these, ye have done it unto me. This is not advice. This is a description of a single life. So live gently, speak gently, act from oneness. In traffic, yield a space and bless the one who takes it. There is no other there. In the email, remove the defense and keep the truth. In the store, meet the cashier with your own eyes and let gratitude do the talking. In your house, let the quiet center make your no clean and your yes kind. If I wrong you, I wrong myself. If I bless you, I bless my own life. He within me is the I within you. The Father, the Father, the Father. Go with this assurance. You are not trying to become upheld. You are consenting to be upheld by what has always been within. The vine has never released the branch. The branch has merely forgotten the sap. So remember and rest. When anxiety knocks, do not fight on its floor. Withdraw, acknowledge, wait for the release, and then live from that peace and love toward all. Relax. Rest. Let go. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works, and under his government you are kept.